I don't know.
Looks like
I do not see it working. Like, unless it starts now and the stream is just started, and I was like, oh, I don't think it's working. So that means, so if it's working, that means people.
I think it is working. I'm just checking on YouTube. Oh yeah, it is working. It is working. All
yes,
good.
I see it now.
All good. Perfect.
Well, this is pretty awkward because everyone are just listening to that.
That's fair enough. It's all good. But yeah, let's go then. Of course, welcome everyone to the stream. We've currently got 5 people in chat, which is awesome. Hello, Liam. Hello, KMCB. Yeah, I've got Sam here.
Hi, I am Sam.
That is amazing. I'm astounded by the insight you've given me there. Thank you. And we're going to talk about, of course, the Red Bull Junior team, because that's probably the most famous academy in the whole of motorsport, and we think that their drivers, or some of the best drivers out there. I mean, he's finished third in he's won a couple of races in F2, in Formula Renault, I think, and in European F3. But yeah, so far he's not had too many great successes, I think. And
but like even just taking away the results, him on track he's not very good either. You can watch him and you can see his defending isn't very good. I think the obvious one is Monaco. I think it was Lundgaard or Armstrong.
It was Armstrong, yeah.
Armstrong, yeah, but like that's the obvious example. But there's been countless times, a few times in Baku, where his
is not that great compared to his peers. Like
leaves a lot to be desired in the race.
That seems fair enough. I mean, like he's not at the level of Bottas, obviously, and he probably will never be. But yeah, he just doesn't have the natural edge to kind of. He doesn't have sometimes the desire to make those moves happen and to defend particularly often. So that's a bit of a shame. It's unfortunate, but yeah, there we go. What do you think of his chances for the future?
Up to table, I think if he is still with Red Bull next year, it will be for the sole reason of doing a DTM. If he's not doing DTM with Red Bull, I don't think he's with Red Bull at all. I think if they want to get someone for DTM, obviously Alex is going to be full time in F1 now. Liam, I don't think he would really want to return to DTM after what happened. I think Druvla isn't the worst if they want to just promote from within like they did last year. I think he wouldn't be the worst example, but apart from that, I don't see how he can continue in single seaters.
I think he wouldn't look out of place in F1 necessarily, but he wouldn't be kind of troubling any kind of. He wouldn't be contending for any podiums or anything, or even wins. I don't think so. Yeah, I think he's pretty much out the door. I mean, there've been rumours of him going to Prema in F2 for next year, and then I'm interested to see whether he will still be with Red Bull and do a DTM campaign as well. But I guess we'll have to see.
I think the Prema rumours are quite telling of his backing. I think it's Prema in F2. It's going to be the most expensive seat you can get in the FIA series. And not a lot of people can go for that, and I think there's much better drivers that probably like offer their services and the money, but I think he's just paying more than them. So
yeah, I mean I guess he'll have a good campaign in F2 next year, and then go somewhere into sports cars. Probably that's more than likely where his future lies.
Yeah, I'd say. I mean, he's good enough to have a career somewhere, but it's just F1. It's not that.
Yeah. Okay, now let's move on to one of his F2 rivals, and that is Estonian driver Yuri Vips, who is currently racing with Hitech, and is, I think, sixth in the F2 standings. Now, yeah, what do you think of his season so far? First of all,
I think he's been really good, actually. Um, he's doing really well. I think that round in Baku where he won the two of the three races has really helped him push up the standings quite a bit. But even still, I think in Bahrain he was pointless. But if you remove that, he's been one of the better drivers of the season, being consistently in the top 10 and getting a few podiums and even a few wins here and there.
I mean, realistically, you would have to consider him as somewhat of a rookie, given that he didn't do like he only did a few rounds of F2 last season. And in total, he barely did any racing at all last year. So it's very impressive what he has achieved so far in 2021. I think.
Yeah, it's to go from a few rounds of Formula Regional, which it was very good, but it wasn't at the level he should be racing at, and then only a couple of races. I think it was 3 or 4 rounds replacing Galeo in Dams. There wasn't much momentum. There wasn't much momentum he had going. So I think to come in and to be beating Liam, we'll get onto as a really good driver, I don't think you could ask for much more from him.
Yeah, really, he's maximised his opportunities, and of course, probably his biggest problem this year has been just unreliability of the car. Without it, he would probably be top 3 in the standings, judging off of his performances.
Yeah, it's not unreasonable to say that, and he's still in the fight for that second. I'll say second. I'd say second. Yeah, I think he's still in the fight for second.
Yeah, I mean it depends it heavily depends on qualifying, and he's quite good at qualifying the car well. Because that'll be important because Jeddah doesn't seem like a track where you can easily overtake, and Abu Dhabi has historically proven in the past that you can't overtake there. So quali will be important for his fight for second place, and irrespective of that, what do you think he will be able to do in next season and possibly beyond?
So the article came out recently, and it was kind of with kind of talking about the seats next year. I can't remember the magazine or news article, but it was a French one. They were talking about who's going to get what seats, and obviously not Black's being announced already, and Vips was not mentioned in it. Yeah, he wasn't mentioned in it. There was obviously, I think 5 seats still yet to be confirmed if that's to be believed, and he could occupy one of them, but yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
That's true. I mean, the one like a lot of people are saying that he will take the other high-tech seat, but supposedly he doesn't want to have that F2 seat, which, given the cost, isn't understandable.
I think the stream has stopped. I think the stream has stopped.
Has it? I don't think so. No, it hasn't. It's going.
Okay, on my end to finish. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's all right. All good. But yeah, I think Vips, if he leaves F2, that will obviously put his F1 chances to borderline 0, because that's currently the only real viable way of getting into F1 as a rookie. But yeah, what does the chat think? What do you guys think? Where will Vips end up next year? Because obviously he could go. He will probably still be like the 3rd driver of AlphaTauri or Red Bull or something.
Yeah, I think F2 is very much on the table again. I can't see any reason Red Bull would drop him, and they're the best academy for providing funds to their drivers. So I think he will be in F2 again next year. Just not sure when.
All right. Yeah, I hope he will get a good seat as well, because we don't want to see him at Trident.
Exactly.
Yeah. KMCB has just commented that he thinks that Vips will be the reserve driver for Red Bull if he's not an F2, which very, very, very good possibility of that happening. I guess he'd be a bit of a safety net for Red Bull if the drivers who come into F2 don't do that well.
I think they mentioned Red Bull. I'm not sure if he is Red Bull. I think it's Albon at the moment. So with obviously him moving to Williams, I think they're right in saying it could be Vips that steps up to the plate for Red Bull. Because I think Albon is doing reserve for both the Red Bull teams at the moment. So
at the moment he is. Yeah.
So if he can get the Red Bull seat and impress, apparently Albon's doing very well in that role this year. I don't see why, if there was a bit of underperforming from Khadgar or Lawson or whoever, or even Wassa, he can't take the step up. And if Gasly goes, if Tsunoda goes, I don't see why he can't take that seat.
Very, very fair point. I think certainly a lot of opportunities open for Vips, and that would be his path into Formula One, it seems like. But yeah, now let's move on to his high-tech teammate, which is obviously Kiwi Liam Lawson. Now he's been doing double duties this year, competing in F2 and DTM, as everyone knows. What apart from his DTM campaign has impressed you most?
Well, in F2, I'm not sure how it has affected him doing DTM and Formula 2. There's been no clashes, but obviously going from a sports car back into a single zero high downforce, probably not the most difficult. Probably not the most difficult transition, but still, I'm sure it's not easy saying that. So I think, especially as a rookie, he's a complete rookie in F2. He's not been bad. I think he's impressed quite a lot.
Yeah, he's won.
But I think
he's won 2 races. I mean, 1.5.
Well, Monaco was disqualified, but yeah, he
won 2 races.
He finished first in 2 races. He didn't win 2 races.
Okay, yeah, fair. Yeah, okay, yeah. Let's go with that. It's like the Schumacher got a pole at Monaco, even though he didn't. Thing. Yeah.
Exactly. I think he's been very good. I think he's behind Druvla and Vips, but obviously that win in Monaco, if he had that, it would push him up more. And obviously he's a rookie. They're both Vips less so, but Druvla's in second year.
Yeah,
I think he still had a very high chance of beating both of them. I don't think it's unreasonable to say he will finish higher than Vips and Druvla this year.
There's a very good possibility of that. KMCV has just commented that Lawson is the master of jumping in a car and being instantly quick at it, in it.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean,
because he did win his first DTM race. I cannot tell you where it was.
Monza, actually, it's on the picture.
Oh yes, it was Monza, and he actually had issues with the car that day.
He did win his first F2 race as well.
Yeah, so
quite funny stat there.
He is quite an adaptive driver. Yeah,
I think very important for F1 as well.
And yeah, exactly, because with new regs, I think a lot of people will be a bit uncomfortable with how everything feels. And he had a seat fit, so I think that implies a heavier role for next season. Probably with AlphaTauri. I'm not sure if they'll do Vips or Red Bull or whatever. But I think a heavier role next year in the makings of the Formula One team. I think it's quite viable for him. That's it. And then I don't think he'll do DTM next year because we kind of know how that ended.
Yeah,
wouldn't.
We don't need to talk about it really, because that will probably invoke certain emotions for people.
Yeah, but even still, he was very, very good in DTM. He almost became the youngest champion in his history in his first year.
Yeah,
nothing to be ashamed of.
He was incredible in DTM. He really has to be proud of what he's achieved there. So
I think he'll be a bit disappointed with his F2 season, though, if I'm being honest.
That is, yeah. I mean, he's not beating Vips at the moment, and even with the disqualification, he's behind Deruval in the standings. Without the disqualification, he's behind Deruval in the standings. So it's a bit. It's a good season for him in F2, but it's not the level that he's had in DTM. I'd say, of course.
Yeah, but I mean, it was his rookie year in DTM, but it was also his rookie year in F2, so you kind of give a bit of leeway there. I think he'll
true.
I think he'll definitely push on next year.
Yeah, he'll go for the title. He could even win it if obviously if Hitech is good enough, he could very possibly win it.
He's good enough to at least be in that conversation, we'll say.
Yeah, like with the Porsches and with the drivers that we'll mention after Liam. But for now we'll move on to a guy who comes from the same region of the world as Lawson, and it's of course Jack Dewan from Australia.
You just offended a load of Kiwis.
From the same, I said from the same region, so not from the same nation.
Yeah, but still, I'm sure they're not too happy. I don't think you have any Kiwis watching. From being honest, though, it doesn't really matter.
I don't think Josh Revel is tuning in from his cave.
Yeah, no, it's probably like 2 a.m. there.
Yeah, he's well asleep. Anyways. But yeah, Jack Dewan finished second in F3 this year. He's made a massive step up, hasn't he?
Yeah, and I think it's something no one really expected. Because I remember I've seen I went back a couple of weeks ago and after the season finished and went back a load of predictions and just kind of top 5s, top 10s, I think it is. And I think out of 10, 15 or so, Dewan was into one of the top 5s. And yeah, he kind of not came from nowhere because obviously he did well in F4 and he's pretty prolific in F3 Asia, but like he's shown speed many times. Just in F3, I think he wouldn't give me a great car with E3 way. With Jake massively outperformed us for a lot of the season.
No, you just wanted to get that Jake Hughes reference in there. Yep, go on. Yeah, well done.
Well, even still, like it wasn't a very good car for a lot of the season.
True.
And Jake, with being extremely ahead, he obviously maximised everything. Jack couldn't really do that. I think in hindsight, obviously he finished second and pushed Dennis for a lot of the season. But I think in hindsight, we should have expected it. Maybe not to this level. But he was kept by Red Bull for a reason. Like Red Bull don't just have anyone on their books. Like he wasn't a full academy member, but still he had the branding and everything. There was a reason they kept him, and I think people kind of overlooked that.
That is very true. Helmut Marko doesn't mess about with drivers who don't have any talent. Exactly, and I think kind of him having been in F3 Asia before his stint in F3, sort of devalued like for me at least, it devalued his skill somewhat because it is F3 Asia after all, and especially in 2019, it wasn't that good. So him finishing second there, that was, or for me and for many others, it seemed like he's not that great, and his rookie year in F3 kind of fueled the flames on that front. But really, from his days in F4, we should have seen that he is someone who can match the top guys.
I will go continue with that by saying I don't think he's the best driver. I think comparatively to Hauger, Vips, and Lawson, Deruvla less so. I think he is under their level. I don't think we'll see him. We'll probably see him testing F1, but I don't think we'll see him doing FP1s or even racing anytime in F1. And I think I don't think, especially with Hauger as his main rival, because they kind of been side by side for most of their car racing career. I don't think there's much room for Dewan in F1.
Nah, fair enough. I mean, the talent pool is seriously strong, and for me, Dewan is from the guys who are closest to F1 at the moment. From the 5 guys who are closest to F1, he is fourth. He's the 4th best and the 4th most talented, I would say. 4th most talented.
Yeah.
So
I would agree. Yeah.
If he has a standout season in F2 next year with, I think Carlin was the team that is heavily linked to him.
Yeah.
Then we could see him in F1, but the competition is so strong that I'm conflicted on that front.
I wouldn't be surprised if he had a good season at 2 and finished 4th, let's say, and was up there. But I think the chances of that are quite unlikely. But we never know with him.
True. Dewan can surprise us for sure. But yeah, let's move on to no bias, the best driver in the world, Dennis Hauger.
Yep, as a Norwegian yourself, you love Dennis.
Yeah, and I know I am fluent in Norwegian, and I'm from Oslo. Yep.
Exactly. But yes, I think he's quite clear of everyone in the F3 field.
Oh god, this is the Twitter speech right there. He's quite clear of everyone. Oh.
Yeah, I think I said it as soon as he was announced at Prema. He has won the title, and you can go back and I said that.
Yes, yeah. I think we both said it, and we were the only ones who said it, and he dominated.
A lot of people were tipping him for the title, but as soon as he signed for Prema, I was like, it doesn't matter, Vesti, Novalak, Sargent, Coldwell, Doohan, none of them are touching him if he's in the best car. And while Prema arguably weren't the best at all tracks, he was still very good, and I don't think there was ever much doubt in my mind.
Hang on,
he was winning.
We've just got I have to interrupt this Hauger segment to bring you more of Jihan Deruvla. Because it's Duracell just asked, will Deruvla challenge for the F2 title next year? What do you think, Sam?
So he's being if he's linked with Prema.
Let's say he signs with Prema for next year, and he has Hauger as his teammate.
Okay, so we'll go off the reported lineup, and he's with Prema. I think he's up there. I think he's going to win a few races, get a few podiums, and I think he'll just be outside the bracket of title contenders. I think I'll say pick them this year. He's won the better drivers this year. He's gotten wins and podiums, but no one's mentioning him in the title, and I think he'll just be outside of the zone of the title. But I think he'll have his best F2 year.
Oh yeah. He'll finish in the top 5, I'd say, but I don't think he will properly fight for the title.
Yeah, I would agree. But I mean, with Prema and Strula, he's everywhere he's gone, he's always been good. Sometimes, if he can string it all together, if he is the best car in Khadgar, it struggled in his first year. It would kind of need to all come together for him, but I don't think it's impossible for him to win the title. I just think if you're looking at a list of drivers who you think can win the title, I think he would be a bit lower on that list.
Yeah, but his seat at Prema would certainly help, and also his experience, which and the fact that he is a relatively solid driver will help him to be in the conversation if things go to plan. But yeah, let's move back to Khadgar. So of course, then 2020, just like with Dewan, wasn't Dennis's best season. He finished with only one podium in F3 in 2020. Why do you think that was the case, and how do you think he's been able to react to it?
Yeah, I think he just didn't get a grasp of the car. I'm not sure how HWA work, because I know each team are do their own thing, but it seems, especially at the start of the year, they could not get any results. They struggled a lot.
Hang on, are you talking about Dewan or Khadgar?
Well, just the team in general. Oh, Khadgar.
Khadgar was with High Tech.
Oh, you did High. Yeah. Whoops.
All good.
No. Yeah. High Tech were good last year, weren't they? Yeah, they were. They got multiple wins. Yeah.
Yep. There we go. Okay. Anyways, yep, they had Lawson.
No, I think he just failed to grasp the car. I think some teams, they work around their drivers. I think it's Prema, obviously, they try to work around their drivers a lot more with everything, whereas I know ART are more set in stone. They give you a car, they give you a setup. If you can get the grasp of that setup, you're going to be quick. If you're not, you're probably not. But I think I'm not sure exactly how High Tech are. I know nothing about the internals of F3, but I think he just didn't get the grasp with the car and struggled a bit, and it was in his rookie year. So
yeah, and I think there's no shame in that, because he stepped up from F4. Let's say if Oliver Behrman, for example, were to, the current Italian F4 champion and hopefully soon to be ADAC F4 champion. If he stepped up to F3, not with Prema, but with a team like ART or High Tech, who don't seem to be kind of working with the driver on the setups, but just giving them a setup, I think we could well see a struggle like that, even though the driver in question is exceptional.
Exactly, yeah. I think I'm not sure how well he'll do. It's a bit of a coin toss, for being honest. But he is obviously very talented, and he's shown that right from karting, where he won a load of stuff, and then moving up to F4, F3, Formula Regional, everywhere he's gone, he's won, and in very dominant style most of the time. So I think if it's not this year, next year he'll definitely be right at the front of the F2 pack.
Yeah, I think with Prema as well, they've obviously got the best record, or one of the best records in F2, and especially recently with Schumacher, Schwartzman, Piastri now, they get the strongest drivers, and they get them to the top, or near the top at least. So I would expect a good season from Dennis, and if he can properly challenge for the title, that will be an incredible bonus for him for him and his hopes of reaching F1.
Yeah, I think it would be quite extraordinary if within 2 years he's not at the front of F2, and it depends on how AlphaTauri sees it working. I don't want to go into if Yuki doesn't perform, then Snow that then Vips would move up and all that. I think that the likelihood of him getting F1 is quite high, but obviously he hasn't done F2 yet, and F1 is a very political game, so we'll see how that works out. But yeah, he is great, and I think he'll, alongside Drew especially, who's quite experienced in the series at this point, I think that'll be a good partnership.
Yeah, for sure. I'd be inclined to agree on that front. But yeah, I think we should move on to a driver who is going to be making a move to F2 next year. Kind of like we mentioned Yuki Tsunoda just a second ago. Ayumi Iwasa, very similar situation to Yuki for next year. He's probably going to be moving to F2 with Carlin next year after having done one season of F3. Now, first of all, let's cycle back a year. How impressed were you with Iwasa's career up to F3?
So I watched less French F4 in 2020 than I did this year, and it wasn't even that much this year. So I can't, from what I see, the small number of races I've seen, he was the standout driver. He was kind of never trouble. I think it was Sato, Khadgar, and maybe the two behind him, and none of them really ever truly kind of came close to him. I think he was very impressive, and the jump to F3 was quite a big one, and I think he handled it quite well. He got a win in Hungary, I believe. He got I think he got a podium and somewhere else, and he wasn't terrible. But I think another year would have massively benefited him.
Yeah, I really expected him to be staying in F3 for next year, where he could possibly challenge for the title. But then I think the thing with Red Bull is that maybe they don't think that he would have gotten a good seat that would be befitting of a title contender like Prema or something like Trident, because at this moment in time, High-Tech aren't the creme de la creme of F3 teams. They're sort of based in solidly in the midfield. So maybe that was a factor in the Red Bull hierarchy choosing to put Iwasa into the Carlin seats for F2. I mean, this is obviously rumours, but it looks highly likely.
Especially if he didn't test in F3, so...
Yeah, true. Yeah. I mean...
Yeah, I think if they expect him to do a Tsunoda, where do 1 year in F3, 1 year in F2, then move up, I don't think that's going to happen. And I'm not sure how much say Honda have in this, because obviously they're leaving Red Bull, but maybe they want to still back some of the drivers, especially the Japanese ones. So I'm not sure what Honda had to say, and maybe it was more of a Honda decision than a Red Bull decision, but I can see him move up, and I think he might struggle a bit.
Yeah, but true, but I think he's adapted quite well to F3, and he's done sort of what really can be done, or almost the most that can be done with the High-Tech in 2021 in F3. So it's a big step up, admittedly, but he moved from French F4. That is a large step. That is larger than Hauger did, than Hauger's step in 2020. That is larger than Lawson's step in 2019, and I think he's handled himself pretty well, in my opinion. So. He's done well, but I disagree. I think he could surprise a few people. But it depends, obviously, on the package, because Carlin could revert back to 2019, where they were just a top midfield team rather than a title threat.
I think he might be good, but I think the chances of him being a midfield driver that's very inconsistent, as you normally see with rookies, is higher than the chance of him doing well and being a top midfield.
That I don't disagree with. Yeah, exactly. Just like you said, I think he could have an outstanding season, but it's not as likely as him having a flashes of brilliance in a season marked by inconsistency. But inconsistency. My English isn't my main language. But yeah,
Great excuse.
Of course, I always have to make the excuse. But yeah, let's move on to Iwasa's teammate, Jack Crawford, who is seen here in a very high resolution picture at the Imola circuit. Now, what do we say? Do we say that he is has the talent to become the next American F1 driver? Because that's obviously one of the big things that especially like F1's management and a lot of F1's fans are looking for.
I think, I don't know. It's quite a tough question. Can he make F1? Definitely, and I think he's from what we've seen of him, he's done really well. But I've never got with some drivers you kind of just get that feeling. You go, this guy is it. And while Jack has, I mean, granted it was Euro Formula. From what he competes in Euro Formula, he made it look like he was driving with 20 AR on the F1 game. But with F3, the results were never really there. I mean, it's similar to what Khadgar did last year. So, depending on his seat next year, he could have a fantastic season. I wouldn't put it out a picture, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure he's it. And I think of the current American drivers, I think he's the highest chance because Korea, while he's linked with Sauer, I don't think he's getting F1 in Sargent. He's linked with Williams, but I don't think he's the backing. I think he's the most likely of the American drivers currently in the European feeder series to make F1.
Well, I mean, Cameron Dass also exists, but just ignored the best American driver to ever exist. But we move. But yeah, Crawford has carried himself well in Euro Formula. Obviously, not a great series, but he's done incredibly well there. And F3 was sort of just a rookie, just a bog standard rookie year of good results and bad results. It's quite standard. He's scheduled to move up to Prema for next season, and yeah, I mean, pretty obvious. I think he'll be able to fight for the title.
Is he moving to Prema?
I think he is moving to. I mean, he did test with Prema for all 3 days.
Oh, he did, didn't he? I forgot. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
No, because I had 3 drivers in my head, and obviously they swapped 2 drivers on the day. So, yeah, he did actually, and I think he could pull a Khadgar, and his first season was very comparable with Khadgar. But I think he could do well, but we'll see. I'm not entirely sold on him yet, but he is still, I think, 16, and he's done very little. So
he's got a lot of opportunities ahead of him. He's not the finished article, not by a long shot. So there's still time on his side.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now his former Formula 4 rival, and possibly, and hopefully his title rival.
And possibly the worst driver in the Red Bull Academy.
Sorry, yes, okay, yeah. Jonny Edgar, the flukiest of fluky drivers who couldn't win a race whilst driving against a bunch of Ragunathans. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Edgar. Well, let's be serious. Let's be serious. What do we think of Jonny Edgar's actual chances of getting a strong position in F3?
I think it's quite likely. He was doing it is testing, but he was doing very well in testing for Trident. And if he can get that Trident seat, obviously they're the team's champions. I don't see why not he can't be challenging up there and maybe get the title.
Yeah, I think we might see either a repeat or a reverse switch, or kind of a switch up of the Khadgar Dewan dynamic in F3 for next year, with obviously Crawford being in Premier and Edgar being Trident. But I think we could see a reverse of that, so Edgar winning instead of Crawford.
He did get the better of him in ADAC, so you have to say the advantage currently goes to Edgar, but Crawford will finish higher but in this year.
Yeah, but then again, Edgar was with the worst team on the grid.
Yeah, I think he was the only. No, Carlisle had no drive score points, but like he scored the majority of them.
Yeah, without Edgar, they would have been lost.
Yeah.
So
I think he's quite a hard driver to judge. I think like he's everything he's done is very impressive, and obviously everyone we mentioned, there's a reason they're Red Bull Junior. I think, and he won ADAC. I think he got fourth in a part-time season in Italian last year. I think there's nothing stopping him going on to win the title. But I think I wouldn't put him as big, but I'd put him in the conversation.
Yeah, and obviously, like talking about an F1 opportunity in the future is obviously it's a bit too early for Edgar, but I think if he does fight for the title and maybe even win F3 next year, then he will be in with a strong shot. He will be held in a high regard by Helmut Marko. That's all that really can be said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Marko needs people to impress him to keep him on, and I think the only driver I can see them dropping this off season is Druvla. I mean, we've seen crazier stuff announced, so for all we know, Dewan could be dropped. Like they're very ruthless there. I think Edgar. I think most of the drivers mentioned will be continuing with them next year, and Red Bull like to give their drivers a good opportunity. So I think he'll do well as regards to F1. Like Crawford, I think it might be a bit too early to tell, but I think he's quite comparable to Crawford. I think he might be slightly better than Crawford, but if you would argue Crawford is better, I wouldn't go into that too much. So I think he could get F1, but with the depth of talent Red Bull have, and obviously it's quite complicated. You never know.
Yeah. Also, we've just had a comment from Greg Drew too, who says that Vips is the most underrated F2 driver. Saying he's beating Lawson, yet Liam gets more credit, and that's because of DTM. What do we think? What do we make of this?
Is Vips underrated? I'm not entirely sure, because from what I've seen of him, people think very highly of him. I think it might be right that Lawson gets more credit, but I think he kind of deserves a bit more credit for getting that DTM. Any reason why if he doesn't continue to impress, he can't get F1?
Well said. Also, CDTM is saying, considering the number of drivers they have, do you think Red Bull will drop any of their juniors? I was going to talk about it.
I wouldn't be surprised if they picked up another highly rated name, Behrman, Mini, Saucy, like Tramness, like these types of names. These highly rated youngsters coming through. I wouldn't be surprised if Red Bull picked another one, and they're like, maybe we need to get rid of someone, and they think Lawson is in his full rookie year as Big States and end up performing similarly. But yeah, I think Drula is highly likely to go. Apart from that, I think it's I don't think anyone else will.
Yeah, but it would be very Red Bull if they suddenly dropped a bombshell and kind of left one of their juniors who were performing relatively well on the sidelines. It would be a very Red Bull thing to do. But I honestly don't think that will happen. But it could. There's a slight possibility. Depends on the breakfast helmet Marco has. But yeah, Isak Khadgar, the newest addition to the Red Bull program. He's currently a supported driver, or he's not even a supported driver, but he's got a Red Bull helmet, and he's going to become a full member of the junior team in 2022. Go on.
Yeah, I think he's. I'm not sure. I'm not sure he's as good as some of the other drivers, but I think he is obviously very talented. I think he's fifth. I think he got fifth in Trek this year as a rookie.
Yep, he was the best rookie actually.
Oh yeah. So I think it's. I can see why they picked him up, and it was announced fairly early. I think when they were racing it, I think just after the Spa round in Trek, I think it wasn't.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, I think he's very good, but I'm not sure. I think there's other drivers there they could have picked up who are slightly better than Khadgar.
Yeah, I think his F4 record slightly speaks against him, in my opinion. He hasn't been the greatest of drivers before this year, but maybe he's just maybe it's just the saucy phenomenon of him kind of not doing exceptionally before this season. So it could be that.
I mean, it's not just like they've looked at his results and watched the races like we have. They've obviously talked to him. They've probably done like workshops with him. They know a lot more than we do. And if they're like very impressed by what he can do, then there's no reason.
Yeah, maybe he's applied himself really well.
Exactly.
In terms of not just inside the car, but also in team briefings and just his general maturity or understanding of setups and stuff like that. Maybe that helped him gain a place in the academy. But he's no doubt a quick driver. But we'll have to see what he does in F3 to be able to kind of rate him very well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then finally we've got Monsieur Arvid Lindblad, the British Swede or Swedish Brit, who's currently doing an incredible job on the karting scene. Obviously, we can't say much. No, go on. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say I haven't seen too much of him. I watched the finals and I watched a few other races in between. I think he got a podium in every race at the season of the main campaign he was doing, which is very good.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's in karting. It's very tough to tell.
It's difficult to rate him. He's had an exceptional season, but we have to see how he adapts it in cars, and obviously he's still.
I think he'll do mostly the OK class stuff. And maybe we'll see him in Italian F4 or ADAC or British or something like that at the end of the year, like 1 or 2 rounds in a pinnacle. And I think Khadgar, I think he left halfway through, he was doing really well, but yeah, Roy Nassani got podiums. So take that series with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
And don't use that as a way to say to prove he's better than others.
Yeah, fair enough. Good, well said. Yeah. But yeah, that's the end of the stream. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you Sam for being here and giving us your opinions on the Red Bull Juniors. I think we might. I think if you want to, Sam, we can do another one of these for the Ferrari Juniors, or the Mercedes juniors or the Alpine juniors. Not the Williams juniors though, but the others for sure.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Just
I mean, depending on what their section is. This one, if everyone hated this one, I don't see why we should go. Oh, let's look at the Sauber juniors next.
We're not going to be looking at the academy that's just got karting drivers and Théo Pourchaire. I don't think we'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anyways, thank you everyone for being part of this stream. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Has the stream finished?